Welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey. We are chatting rumors today, beginning with a potential position change, maybe in the cards for Jourdan Lewis. Could he make the move to safety? I'm going to give this one 2 stars. I am actually very open to trying this out, something we mentioned at the end of last season, which did not end up happening. But the Cowboys have once again chosen to break my heart and neglect the safety position. Now, Lewis is a possible position change type of guy. He's got the skill set to play some safety. He's a good tackler. He's better when he's facing the football, more so than turning his back around there. But he's never really gotten the opportunity to do so. But the Cowboys did pay him a pretty good amount of money to stick around for at least this upcoming year. And in fact, when you actually look at Jourdan Lewis's stat line, it looks like someone who's better in run support. 7 tackles for loss. He had 2 sacks, just the 2 pass breakups. But from the production standpoint, if I just gave you, if you'd never heard of Jourdan Lewis, and I said, hey, these are his stats, what position does he play? You probably guess safety or maybe nickel corner, which, again, checks out there. Coverage-wise, he's been up and down. There have been plenty of plays by Jourdan Lewis. It seemed like in recent years, when a big play came from the secondary, it was either Jourdan Lewis or Donovan Wilson. And I do, to make things very clear here, want Donovan Wilson to be a starter for me at strong safety. But especially beyond Damontae Casey, who we'll get into more in depth in just a second, the safety room remains precariously thin. There's Jerron Kearse, Israel Mukuamu, Darian Thompson, maybe Reggie Robinson, maybe Keanu Neal, Steven Parker, producer Sam's boy, because they went to Oklahoma together. But I look at this secondary spot, and I got a lot of corners, and I don't have very many safeties. And I have not done a good job of raising this alarm, but I'll do it right now. I'm at least going to point this out. Damontae Casey going to be good to go week 1. Coming off the torn Achilles he suffered back in October. The Cowboys, I think, feel pretty good about where Casey's at, but his contract is profoundly cheap. And if Casey can't go in week 1, who's your free safety? Does it end up being Donovan Wilson and then Keanu Neal plays strong safety? That's an option, but I kind of like Donovan Wilson more in the strong safety role unless Dan Quinn's really changing up his defensive scheme and not running a bunch of single high or cover 3 looks there. So because of the skill set I believe Jourdan Lewis has, I would like to at least consider this. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I think it makes some sense. I think it is a potential route the Cowboys could end up pursuing here, and frankly, I wish they'd done it last year. You had the opportunity. The safety room was decimated, and they didn't put Jourdan Lewis out there. So I'm going to make this question the pinned comment on today's video. Where do you believe Jourdan Lewis should play? Type S for safety or type in C for corner. If you get the ad break here on YouTube, scroll on down and get your votes in. Let's talk about a different defensive back here. Reggie Robinson, is he on the roster bubble? I'm going to give this one 2 stars. I actually think this is a possibility, given it's a new defensive coaching staff and just playing the numbers game in the secondary. The Cowboys drafted 2 top 100 corners. There was a report he was going to move to safety or back to corner, and maybe he will, maybe he won't. Either way, with a new defensive staff in place, and especially some changes on the secondary coaching side, Robinson's going to have to impress. As a 4th-round pick, I don't think he's guaranteed a roster spot. I think he's good enough to make the team. There are plenty of other guys I would rather have on this, or have Robinson over on this roster. But let's play the numbers game at cornerback. Trevon Diggs, Kelvin Joseph, they're locks. They're making the team. Jourdan Lewis, he is too. Deshaun Wright was a top 100 pick. He's going to make the team. C.J. Goodwin is going to make it at least as a special teamer. I think Anthony Brown will make the organization as well, unless he gets traded, which would be a bit of a surprise to me. But I just mentioned 6 corners before we even got to Reggie Robinson. Now, maybe if he plays safety, if he sticks there, okay, things look much better. Where, Jourdan Kearse, I think he made the team over Israel Mukuamu, although that's a Dan Quinn guy, so maybe not. I don't want Darian Thompson on this team. So I think that Robinson makes the team. But if he does not impress, especially if he's forced to bounce back and forth between corner and safety again, maybe it's actually not in the cards there. So I like Robinson. I like him more than Deshaun Wright. But I promise you, clearly Dan Quinn does not feel the same way. Nahshon Wright was more invested and more recently invested relative to draft capital. So Wright's making the team over Reggie. I think he makes the team, but when we do our, to be done later, of course, 53-man roster projection, Robinson might be one of the last guys to make the roster. So get your votes in for me. Do you think he's going to make it? Type Y for yes or type in N for no. Now, Micah Parsons was the team's first-round pick this year, and his jersey is available at chatsports.com/Parsons. Very simple right there. Head on down there, the link you see at the bottom of your screen. It'll be in the comments section and in the description. So all you guys have to do is click shop and go get your Micah Parsons jersey. He will be wearing number 11, by the way. It's chatsports.com/Parsons. Let's talk schedule here. Could the Cowboys be playing in the season opener for the entire NFL? Could they take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in primetime Thursday night football? I'm going to give it 2 stars. I think it is very much a possibility. Shout out Peter King for coming up with this idea here. He predicted one of 2 teams will end up hosting, or going to play, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Either the Dallas Cowboys or the Buffalo Bills, with the idea of, hey, those teams could compete against the Bucs. And I'll tell you this much, the Dak return game is a very strong storyline, and the NFL wants to get the ratings off to a hot start there. You put the Cowboys and the Bucs in prime time to open up the NFL season. Oh, yeah. People are going to tune in. Of course, you could always just end up getting stuck with the Giants in either week 1 or in week 2, as they seemingly always are. I would not be surprised if it's Cowboys-Giants somehow to open up prime time. It would be the kind of Dak-Saquon return battle, if you will, there. Now, I do want to quickly run through the home games and the road games this year, because we know them, just not the dates and times in order yet. Of course, the 3 NFC East games, Giants, Washington, Philadelphia. Arizona, I put them in there on the 4 because, go way back on that one. Anyway, Falcons and Panthers, it is the NFC South crossover games this year. Along with the AFC West, you see Denver and Las Vegas on that one. Then your road games, Giants, Minnesota, Philadelphia, Minnesota, another, they finished 3rd in the division game there. And then this is the tough part of the schedule, the road games. Kansas City with Mahomes in theory. Justin Herbert and the LA Chargers, the aforementioned Bucks. The Saints with maybe Jameis Winston. Hey, maybe the Cowboys can get takeaways in that game on defense. And then the New England Patriots as well. Maybe it's Cam Newton, maybe it's Mac Jones. That Patriots game, as a reminder, folks, is the 17th game added to the schedule this year for the Dallas Cowboys. We don't yet know the schedule, the exact order and everything, but we will on Wednesday. That comes out on Wednesday, and we will have a video for you guys. We will break it all down just like we did last year. Last year we got the leaks and put it out early. Maybe we'll do something similar, but do not miss out on the video. Hit that big red button and subscribe. Make sure those notifications are turned on. That way you don't miss out. But the Dallas Cowboys schedule, it's coming out on Wednesday, and we will have a video for you guys the second it is released. One more rumor here. How about signing an edge rusher? This keeps popping up there. Fan-sided, 2 different articles, 2 different players mentioned, but I'm going to give it the 1 star no matter what here. Again, much like the cornerback position, I got a numbers game. There were 2 names mentioned, and I want to hit them both at least briefly here. Justin Houston, formerly of the Indianapolis Colts, who visited the Ravens, is aging but is also still very productive. And Olivier Vernon, who was most recently with the Cleveland Browns, also productive, also kind of aging, but is coming off of a torn Achilles. Now, I've got thoughts on why I don't think this is a good path for the Cowboys, but I want your guys' votes first. Should the Cowboys go sign an edge rusher? Type 1 for yes, they should, or type in 0 for no. Let's go more in depth on each of these guys here. The positives, because we're trying to be more positive in 2021. Justin Houston continues to perform at a pretty high level. 8 tackles for loss, 8 sacks this past year, and you're going, well, that's more than Aldon Smith had, and I'd love to bring him into the organization. I think Houston, however, wants it, if not full-fledged starting reps, borderline starting reps. Is that the case for the Dallas Cowboys organization? As we'll get to in a second, I'm actually not sure. Then there's Olivier Vernon, who was even better than Justin Houston was last season. 12 tackles for loss, 9 sacks. His red flag, however, He's coming off a torn Achilles, and the timing of it, I don't think he's going to be good to go in week 1. So you're bringing him in. You're probably going to wait. He's probably going to sign closer to camp regardless there. Is he going to get back to his old form? How much do you want to pay him? I don't know. But the biggest reason why I gave this 1 star, it's a numbers game to me. DeMarcus Lawrence, Randy Gregory. You want those 2 guys playing at least the majority of your snaps at edge rusher. Then you're going to have this kind of 5 technique, 4 technique defensive end who can kick inside, play outside on rundowns, and in Brett Urban, Osa Odighizuwa, maybe Chauncey Golson, Rondell Carter in that role as well. But let's just ignore that altogether. Like, that's 1 or 2 spots, right? But you've got Terrell Basham, who the Cowboys already committed to. He's making this team. It's been a 3rd-round pick on Chauncey Golston. He's making the team. You have Dorrance Armstrong, who you all know my thoughts on him. Bradley and I as well. It's a numbers game. There's no doubt that Houston Vernon are better than Golson, for example, at least right this second. But you have to build your roster out depth-wise and with younger players. So because of that, I can't rule it out entirely, especially if there's an injury. But I don't think an edge rusher, adding one, is in the plans right now for the Dallas Cowboys.